Welcome to CAS 133 Basic Computer Skills, Microsoft Office, Columbia Gorge Community College, The Dalles, Oregon. Linda Hughitt, instructor. Well, you did it. It's finals. This is finals week, and here's what you need to do. You're going to be working on control panel, computer recycle, your journal, and your final project, and possibly an extra credit final project. So, lots of color here, but the idea is to get your attention to read each one. This week you need to turn in your final project. It is required, and you cannot get anything higher than a C in the class if you do not submit a final project. That means if you have an A today and at the end of this week you do not turn in a final project, you have a C. If you have a B this week, you have a C. If you have a C this week, yeah, well, you probably may keep your C, but that's going to depend on points. It's possible that if you already have a C going into this and don't do your final project, you may possibly have a D based on points alone. And obviously, if you have a D, you may drop to an F, and in CAS classes, you must have a C or above to get credit. So, very important that you get your final project done. Final projects are not accepted late. The only option you would have if you had, say, a major emergency, like you were hospitalized or in a major accident or something that really would prevent you from doing the project, not just, well, I got behind in other classes and I put this one off, would be to contact me to see if you could get an incomplete. Incompletes are only offered for students that have 90% or more of the class done. Means you're in the last week, week and a half, 2 weeks at the most. And so if you do not get a final project done, and it is a verifiable, a major emergency. In other words, if the college says, prove it, you would have proof that you've had a major emergency that did in fact prevent you from completing the final. All late and makeup work is due by the Saturday of this week. That means if you have had permission to submit late work, the permission is about to expire on Saturday, and you need to make sure it's all turned in. If you're going to do an extra credit final project, it is due by Saturday night as well. It needs to be uploaded here into the link in Moodle. Now, if you're doing an extra credit final, that means you have not done the book projects up to this point. You have not turned in extra credit. You might have gotten some on an envelope or a project someplace here or there, but you've not done the 40 points of extra credit you can earn. Basically, after that Saturday night, the next morning on Sunday at 8 o'clock, all the links will close, and that is it. There's no more work accepted by Moodle. There's no more work accepted by email attachment. There's no more anything accepted, because I will be in the final process of grading and getting your grades posted. They have to be posted by Monday at noon, and the term is over. You will see your final grades when Columbia Gorge opens the system up for students to view their grades. Your Moodle grade is not your final grade. There are grades and items that are done that are not in Moodle as per the syllabus, and so I'm the only one with that final grade. Moodle can give you a general idea, but it is not 100%. So what do you have here this week? Well, you have the how to do a photo story again to help remind you if you're going to use photo story. You can go back through. You have your unit goals. You have your direction summary. Your direction summary is just a summary. You do need to view the final PowerPoints on how to do this. You have your final project information. Inside that, you will notice there are 2 PowerPoints. The first one is basically set up for using a PowerPoint final. The second one is focused more on using a photo story for a final. And if you're going to do an extra credit, you can do 2 PowerPoints, you can do 2 photo stories, or you can do one of each. There is a video that goes through and talks about the details of that. Please watch the final video. There's a final project checklist. Your control panel materials are here, and you need to go through and view those. You also need to do the end-of-life decisions for technology. You need to submit your final assignment for your photo story or PowerPoint. You need to upload your control panel summary after viewing the control panel materials. And this covers basically XP, Vista, and Windows 7 control panel. I will add a link that talks about the Windows 8 control panel for you. You have your extra credit final. If you're going to do it, it goes there, and you notice it has the solid box, which means that you have to check it off if you submit it. It doesn't check off automatically. And you've got your journal for your reflection and your final forum, which is your technology end-of-life forum. Now, on the journal, there are some differences in the directions, so please make sure you read those directions this time. This is a little bit more of a term-long reflection. So on this week's journal, again, you have the same 150-word requirement, same format, basically, but you have 3 questions that I've submitted to you rather than you picking your 3. So what do you think was most helpful in this class? Write it out, complete thoughts, complete paragraphs. What do you think you will use? How do you think you will use the new skill? And what did you enjoy the most? Then you're going to tell me 2 things you are still wondering about. And because I've already asked you how do you think you will use the new skill, you don't need to do a separate one on how are you going to apply this. So again, as always, if you have any questions about this week, let me know by email.